Welcome back to Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. We are about to launch into Part 2, Chapter 2. We have gotten, as saw at the end of the previous episode, we've gotten access to the base again. And that's nice, but unfortunately, we can't go into the shop, and we also can't do skills, so that limits quite a bit the actual value of the base. But we can at least view some conversations. Oh, I didn't actually realize there were one-star conversations. Well, these are just story things. I guess I don't actually have to view these, but I have like a need to check all the boxes. This is more opportunities for Heather to establish her preferences. Oh, and I guess the other thing that's going on here is you're learning about the new units that you get. So I will talk about go ahead and talk about those in the base before deploying to the chapter. All right, this should give us something useful. Good luck charm. I think this is a talisman. Yeah. Joffrey says, "Sorry, I can't come with you, but take a thing. An elixir. Well, okay, that's not super impressive, but not terrible." Okay, so there's nothing going on with support, unsurprisingly. I mean, I guess maybe it's possible for Brahm and Nephany to build a support in the previous chapter, but I doubt it. I'm not going to be doing that. So let's talk about our three new units. Lucia or Lucia. I don't really know which. Much like Marcia. I guess nobody says Marcia, so maybe, but I think lots of people say Lucia, so I don't know. Anyway, and then Leith and Mordecai. I've actually heard people say Lethe, which I'm pretty sure that's wrong, because I'm pretty sure Leith is like a Greek mythological reference, but anyway, I'm gonna pull up their growth rates and probably more importantly their availability. So Lucia, whatever her name is, holy crap! Yeah, I remembered it was bad. I didn't remember it was that bad. Oh my gosh. She's available in the upcoming chapter, and then she is not available again until chapter 2 of part 4. She misses the entirety of part 3. For whatever reason, she's specifically listed as not allowed for 3 endgame, which I don't know why that would be relevant, because she's not available for any of the preceding chapters either, but nonetheless, I mean, I know story-wise why she's not allowed, because she is... No, wait, that's during part 2 endgame. Okay, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I guess we can still talk about her as a unit and just to talk about whether she's useful specifically in this chapter, because her growth rates obviously aren't really going to matter very much, given that there's no time to train her. But for what it's worth, her growth rates are 25 strength, which is really low. 70 skill, 60 speed, 15 defense, and 50 resistance. I don't think I talked about Heather's growth rates either last time, but I guess it doesn't really matter. I was going to say Heather does actually also have a 25% strength growth, so yeah, not so good. In terms of her stats right now, she's pretty similar to Zahark. She's She's a little bit faster than Zahark, much higher level than Zahark as well. She's a touch bulkier than him. Obviously, as I talked about in the past couple chapters, you know, you're facing harder enemies, so the fact that her raw stats are a little bit better than Zahark's don't necessarily mean that she's better performing than Zahark. And in fact, I haven't taken a look at the enemies in the next chapter yet, and that'll be sort of difficult because it's Fog of War, so I won't be able to see very many of them initially. But suffice to say that I'm fairly certain that she does not perform nearly as well as Zahark. She is still one of the more useful characters of the 6 that you take into this chapter, because she does double, and that's more than Braum can say, and she can certainly do more damage than Heather. I mean, not her damage output is not impressive, but with the Silver Sword, she's got 30 attack, which is more than Nephany with the Steel Great Lance, barely, but nonetheless. So, and she's going to double a lot more than Nephany, because Nephany's only got 17 effective speed, and Lucia has 27, which is 10 more than that. It's a lot. So, you know, she's useful in this chapter, and then she's irrelevant, and she gets a haircut, so that's nice. You know, her hair is getting a little long, so. Then we've got Leif. Leif, I believe, is also available in the Dawn Brigade, or sorry, the Grail Mercenaries arc. Just gonna double check on that. Yeah, a little less available than some of the other characters that move over to them, it looks like, but she's, you know, she does have some availability there. She has 35 strength growth, 30 skill, 50 speed, 45 luck, 35 defense, 20 resistance, 85 HP, and 5 magic. At 5 magic, very important. Actually, her starting magic is surprisingly high. Anyway, so she is, as a cat, is subject to the really fast-moving gauge, which can be a problem. Her, let's see, her transformed strength is 18 plus 8 might, claw is 26. What is her, okay, so a strike ring. Yeah, so 26 is not especially impressive damage either, particularly, you know, so it's not that much lower than Nephany's, but the fact that, of course, she's going to untransform at some point means it's you know, it's less reliable. So there's, depending on the availability of, you know, your transformation items, there's a sense in which you need the Lagoos to be doing more damage to make up for their lack of 1 to 2 range, and the fact that they're not always actually combat ready. So her speed transformed is 24. That's pretty good. That is, you know, slower than Lucia, but still fast enough to double pretty much whoever in the upcoming chapter, I believe. 18 defense and 51 HP is plenty of bulk when she's transformed. Same thing with 51 HP and 20 res. So she won't have any trouble staying alive while she's transformed. While she's untransformed, she definitely will run into some trouble. And then we have Mordecai, who has also has a strike. Oh, I should take a look at their skills. I'm pretty sure, yeah, so Lucia has parity, which is, as a skill, only really good if you're going up against somebody else who has a relevant combat skill, which is quite rare. And something to note for those who don't know is that skills like critical plus 10 are not counteracted by skills like parity and nihil. There was a discussion of that had recently, and I think the conclusion was that the critical plus 10 skill is sort of like shove or canto, in that it's not a like it's not considered a combat skill, even though this obviously affects combat. It's not a combat skill. It's not something that activates during combat. It's just always there. So for the same reason that you can't cancel somebody's Canto because they just have it and they're not using it like when you're in combat with them, they're just using it whenever they're taking their move. Well, similarly, you can't cancel a critical plus 10. So that is, makes parity, if you had the ability to cancel skills like that, would be potentially significantly better, although perhaps not on Lucia herself because she might want to keep her critical plus 10 active. But anyway, so not super relevant. I don't remember whether there's an enemy in the upcoming chapter that has a skill that she can use parity against, but in general, not super relevant. Anyway, back to Mordecai. So Mordecai has 28 strength and 10 attack, or 10 might on his fang rather, so 38 total attack. That's good. That's 8 more than Lucia with the silver sword, 9 more than Nephany with the steel great lance. So he certainly hits hard. He's only got 18 speed transformed. That is not probably going to be enough to double most enemies. I don't remember for sure, and we'll have to see, but I suspect that he isn't going to be doubling a lot. He's got 32 defense and 57 HP, so that's even his untransformed defense is higher than Lucia's, or it's the same as Nephany's. It's a little lower than Brahms, but still, with 57 HP is a crap load. So, and not that I'm going to be trying to have him take damage untransformed, but he could take some hits untransformed, and when he's transformed, he's going to be taking virtually no damage from physical attacks. 8 res transformed, not so impressive. But anyway, so basically, Leif is going to be good against more fragile units, where the double means that she can do enough to 1-round KO them. Mordecai is going to be better against bulkier units, especially slower, bulkier units that he can double if there are any such things, which given how fast armor units are in this game, there may not be, but at least not right now. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, he can frontline, he can tank, he can soak attacks, and hit hard in retaliation, so long as you keep him away from fire mages. Okay, so the only other thing to look at here is, do we want to use this talisman? Do we want to trade any of the items around? We don't really need to carry a coin into battle, so I'll go ahead and drop that off. We cannot buy items, so we don't have to worry about that. Nephany doesn't need an antitoxin, probably, although maybe there's something with poison. I mean, I guess I might as well take it with me. We'll trade it to Leif because she's faster, I guess. Spectre card, in theory, should go to whoever has a high magic value, which is probably basically nobody, but alright, I guess it's Lucia. I don't know, Lucia, or maybe Heather. She's got 1 less magic, but she does so little damage. Otherwise, that maybe there are going to be situations where that's useful. I don't know. Alright, then we got our Ashera icon and our talisman. I don't know. I don't know who we want to use that on. Also, I think we're going to trade Mordecai the elixir because he's got more HP. Is this just full? Yeah, it's full. So. So. Well, probably the goal also is going to be to have these two primarily use the Olivia Grass and save the Lagoo Stones. The Lagoo Stones have fewer charges, but do more, so probably that's what I'll do. We'll see. I don't know who it's going to be important to transform first, but or if it is important in any respect, really. Okay, right. So resistance-wise, yeah, I don't know. Resistance, luck, kind of whatever. I might just hang on to those and then try to use them later on somebody who's a little bit more relevant, or boost somebody up to where they're capping a stat so that I can do BXP of use. Something along those lines. It just doesn't feel urgent to use those. So let's get out of here. Preview of chapter 2-3 right now. I like how she backs away and then says, "Oh, I appreciate that so much," as I'm walking away from you in disgust. Oh no, it's a trap! So, as I mentioned, this is a Fog of War chapter. The I mentioned during chapter 1.9 that it would be nice if you could relight the torches that they supposedly put out. And here you can light torches, which is a cool gimmick. This is not the only chapter, I think, where you can do that. There's a Grail Mercenaries chapter where you can too, but I like it. I like being able to mitigate the fog. There is a discipline scroll all the way down here, which is where Heather wants to go. The arrive tile is over here, which I guess there's no real way of telling if you haven't played the chapter before, now that I think about it. But, yeah. Heather, I believe Heather has increased visual radius. Maybe she doesn't. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or maybe the Lagoos, the cats and tigers also do. That's probably what it is. I'm pretty sure the birds have reduced vision. So yeah, we can't see any units, but any enemies. But basically, there's a bunch of enemies up in here, if I recall correctly. There's a bunch of enemies in this area. I mean, that's pretty much the whole map. But basically, like, there's enemies all over the place. I don't know. So what we want to do is light the torches so we can see things. Neil Lucci has Canto, which helps with that. So we can, and he's not, I don't, let's see, he has 27 attack transformed. That is slightly better than Leif, I guess. And he's also faster than her. And bulkier than her. Like, credit where credit is due, the old man is a little bit more useful than her right now, I think, combat-wise. But, so what I was going to say is he doesn't really want to get into combat right now, necessarily, but it could also make sense to have Heather light the torch, since she's not going to... Or the other thing I guess I could have her do is scout up here and then have somebody else walk up and light the torch. See, Brahm could get there, but he probably is going to want to go straight forward. Heather wants to go down here as well, as I already mentioned. Oh, I should look at the bonus experience requirement for this one. 2/2 is 7 turns, so that's potentially a little tight. I wish these two were deployed in a different order so I could have Neil Lucci immediately like this and then move up, and then Leanne chance for him and so on. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he could reach. Yeah, alright. Well, that wasn't super helpful. Although I think there are actually reinforcements that come in from behind and potentially douse the torch. If I recall correctly. So one thing we could do is... Oh, I didn't talk about Smite. Smite is a skill that lets you shove people farther, and it's useful. Alright, now I've talked about Smite. So, one thing we could do is use the Olivia Grass, and then chant, perhaps? Yeah, it's really hard when you can't see anything whatsoever. Maybe I'll just move Heather, like, here. That's only going to increase my vision by 1. Oh, there's some enemies. Alright, we found them. Well, Brom fares pretty well against this guy. Steel lance, steel bow. That guy's got a vulnerary. In theory, we could steal it, but I'm gonna worry about that right now. So 16 and 17. That's enough. Still like to see how Sia fares. She just kills him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Although I could potentially have her kill the archer. That might make more sense. Yeah, I think it probably does. Tink. Wait, do they only have a vision range of 2? Okay, I guess the 4 is more... Wait, does she have a vision range of 3 and they have 2? Why would that be the case? Fog of War mechanics in this game confuse me sometimes. I mean, you can see 1, 2, and then this 3 is, you know, question marks. But why Lucia would have... Or maybe that's the torch. Actually, I don't know how big the torch's range is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's not the torch. I don't know. Alright, so the risk in sending Nialucci up this way by himself is that there's an archer and he just gets shot to pieces. But, if that it does look to be a risk, I could potentially send Lucci up there to cover him for him. Though, I mean, I would like to take out this archer. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we use the Olivia Grass here. I think they gain 6 per turn, so it doesn't exactly like line up with the intervals of the gauge. Unfortunately, you still have to wait 3 turns after 1 use for them to transform, assuming that they don't get into any combat. Yeah, I feel like I usually did send somebody up here, but I'm actually tempted to just not this time, like have everybody sort of come this way and then like potentially just ignore the enemies up here. It might be more efficient. Yeah. Whack, whack. Yeah, okay. Actually, wait. Can she see that spot or not? Like that has the dark blue, but doesn't have the question marks. I'm not sure I understand. And does that mean she only has a vision range of 1? Like, what's going on? What's going on here? Alright, well, 18 speed, 13 speed. So Leif gets doubled by the guy with 18 speed. Mordecai gets doubled by both of them. Untransformed. We could... How much damage are they actually going to do to him? The most damage they would do is 28, which is, I mean, it's pretty much damage, but if he uses one Olivia Grass, then he gets hit, I think he'll still be a turn short. So what I could do is use it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go that route. Or sorry, is he gonna double? No, definitely not. Okay. Leith would do 18, and so 26. So 10 twice to this guy. 13 twice to that guy. So she's not killing anything anyway. Alright. I think I'll just, do this. I could smite this guy. I don't know why I would, but I could. Oh, but I still can't. Alright, she should be fine because this guy doesn't have a range weapon. This guy doesn't have a range weapon. Somebody will be. I don't know. Maybe I'll regret that, but I don't think so. Punch! Ow. This is sad. Especially because if I'd known that then there was no point in having him use the second. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. Oh, by the way, I have a poison. There's a poison weapon. Wow. All right. Try again.